sometimes I may feel like I'm in the back burner,
Right.
but it's not really that. It's we're evolving as humans, which is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So yeah, you're marrying the unknown, and you know, again, like, how do men deal with that? How do women deal with that? So it's never a thing where it's just a one script, one blueprint. You're continuously trying to figure things out, communication, and I want to have real conversations about how people deal with these things.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we back with another episode of Inside the Mind. I'm your host, John Reese, and we got Men's Physique Allure. If y'all recognize this face on this screen, my man has been beating y'all down all year. I'm just letting y'all know. Nah, man, but he's been competing for 8 years now, man, grinding. Tons of national shows, turned pro in 2017, where he won his class in Open E and including the Masters overall champ. A lot of pro shows, got 5 Masters IFBB Pro wins, man, including this year, the Wasatch Warriors, the Emerald Cup, and the Sasquatch, all 40 plus. And in the inaugural Masters Olympia that they brought back out this year, my man took 3rd. I got my opinion on that. Y'all shouldn't have been flying all the way to wherever y'all flew to. But whatever. My guy, Dajaun Freeman, in the building. How you doing, brother?
What's up, man? I feel good. I'm blessed. Hey, but at least I can say Romania, though. I at least got my money back plus some with the prize money. I can, at least that one was benefit for me on that one. That was
for real. Hey, I can't knock it, man, because I want to travel too. I just thought it was mad weird for the first one to be out there, but yeah, I mean, the ones who went, man, kudos to everyone that went, man. Y'all got to experience something probably none of you guys have ever experienced before. If you have, it was another trip, which is dope. But like, tell me about, like, how was that, like, preparing for that, like having to travel, leave family, like how that played on your mental, like how was that?
You know what? The biggest thing I was actually dreading was the flight. Because whenever I booked it, the flight was, I'm looking, hold on, 19 and a half hours to get there and 3 hours back. I was like, hold on, right? And then, you know, as bodybuilders, man, we on a training schedule, eating schedule. And then, you know, when you're flying during peak week, okay, I think about, you know, resting, I drink my 2.5-3 gallons of water. So I'm worried about the flight aspect of it and all things that we do in our routine. I'm worried about that more than anything. But once, you know, I got it done. And then when I was finally settled in Romania, then I just, you know, I just had to get switched to time over there because it's 10 hours ahead. So, you know, basically you jump a day ahead. So you jump a day ahead in peak week, jump a day ahead in training. So that kind of shortened peak week up a little bit, you know, so you got that you got to deal with. On top of that, me and a gang of other competitors, we had our luggage lost for half a day, a whole day. So, you know, and then me, like, you know, everybody else, a lot of us travel with food, right? So I'm not knowing nothing another country, what they have, their food is different, whatever. And you don't want to change up all those simple variables in prep, right? That you've been doing, that you know work, you know, like the same meat you've been getting. I got meal prep sponsors, so I'm eating all that. So I'm not going to go to a whole nother country and try to like match the food. That may tear my stomach up. Because I heard horror stories about other, you know, competitors traveling, different food, different waters, whatever. It just tore them up and they was on a deathbed heading to the show, right? Because they got sick. So what I did, I brought a whole ice pack or ice chest full of my food for the week. I took everything, right? But then that was actually one of the packet luggages that got lost. How you gonna lose my ice chest full of food, bro? I was stressing because, you know, that stuff only, like, it was only on the flight for how long? 20 hours? Then the ice packs only last so long. Right, so you like, hold on. This stuff gonna melt. Now you got my food lost. Oh man, so that right there had me stressing in the beginning of that prep for that peak week because, you know, majority of your stuff is gone. My posing trunks, everything is gone, bro. Right, and it's like,
bro,
then you're trying to figure, okay, I need this, I need that. I got to run to the store. I don't know the language. I don't know the country. So that right there, I started out prep with like peak week there with a lot of anxiety and stress. And then once I finally got everything, it started to like die down, so I can get back on my normal, regularly scheduled program. But that one started out, kind of tough. And then that was my first time being that far away from home from my family, right? Which I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was gonna be a good thing because you have kids also, right? When you're
Yeah.
in prep, right? You're in peak week, being around your family, your kids, and after a while, your brain start, And then I was like, all right, this
Mm-hmm.
is the first. And then I got, you're a trainer coach like me. We got clients. They start acting like big babies sometimes, and then you don't want to hear nothing. You just want peace and quiet for like a week. So I was like, all right, I'll be in peak week, peace and quiet, right? Right. But then,
Right.
like I said, I had to deal with that beginning stress. And then once that was over, then I was in peak week with no stress after that. But then I'm missing my wife. I'm missing my kids. I'm missing that. And then it's like, all right, now I miss them, right? So it was both ends of the
Man.
spectrum. But other than that, it was an honor. It was an amazing experience because whenever I first started lifting, truly like bodybuilding style, I was in like my early
Uh-huh.
20s. And then I
Okay.
remember the cats I'm looking at like Flex Magazine, Muscle and Fitness. All them dudes is like competing in the Masters Olympia that I'm competing in. So that was a surreal
Right.
experience. I'm there with Jay Cutler. I'm there with David Henry, Max Charles, Kamal, like all these dudes. It's like I seen them in magazines doing whatever, and then I'm trying to lift like them, eat like them, and now I'm competing with them. So that was by far like an amazing experience, and I didn't really get to like truly enjoy it after, in the sense because right after I flew back, I was right back preparing for my next round of shows. But once
Oh
all my
yeah,
shows
because
were
you ended
over,
up
and
going to Washington right after that.
yeah,
Yep.
back to back to back.
Uh-huh.
So then by the time all those shows were over, then I finally got to sit back and really like reminisce. Like, dude, that was like a once in a lifetime experience competing with like, the same stage as your idols. So that's like when it started coming back. I'm looking at all the pictures. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know I took a picture with so and so. Bam! So it was just,
Bruh.
it was a really surreal experience for like us older cats who like that's all we had back in the day was magazines and YouTube. We didn't have like swipe. You see the same people on Instagram all day long. That was a different era
That's
that
different
I
when
got to
they in your
compete
face, right?
in your
Yeah.
face. It was just surreal. You
Yeah.
really like you get starstruck, but you don't want to be all like, oh, we on the same playing field right now. So that was a complete awesome experience. And at the end of the day, when I was talking to my coach, like, hey, let's just go bring our best and hopefully let's get top five. Right. Not knowing that we're gonna bring our best and I end up, top three, which is a huge blessing in his own, and then end up getting my official world ranking, in Masters division number 3 in the world. True blessing and
That's
yeah,
fire,
so
man. That's dope, man. I was watching from afar, man, and I was like, "Dang, they really about to fly that far?" And then once it's there, once you're there, you're there. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Thank God, like you was able to get all your stuff and kind of calm those nerves down. If anyone, who remotely follows the sport, let alone in, like if those nerves shoot up, like you
Oh,
gonna start holding water, all kind of
yep.
stuff. So I thank God you was able to kind of calm down and get the rest of your stuff. But like, what an experience, bro. Like, that's pretty much dope. But I feel you on the missing the wife part, bro. Like, and that's part
Yeah.
of the reason why, like, I be trying to be selective with like certain shows, knowing if like my wife and my daughter can't fly. Like, my wife would say, like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, just choose and we'll figure it out. But
Yeah.
like, it's just a real soothing, calming feeling when they're there for me
Yeah.
anyway. So like I hear you on that because I'll be ready to get back if they not like whatever. I'll
Yeah.
party later. I'll see y'all later. Like I'm out.
Yeah. I'm always on the first flight back, if not that night, the first one the next morning to get back to my family. I'm gonna be 42 years old in 2 months. I can care less about
Man,
the party and this and that. I want to be back home celebrating with my family, bringing my medals to my kids, eating with my wife and family and my mom and everybody else that come. That's the part I look forward to. I can care less about, party with everybody. I did that in my 20s, bro. Like honestly.
Man, them days is done. I'm over it too, bro. Like now,
Yeah,
I'll be on that first flight smoking back home. I ain't gonna hold you, but man,
yeah,
we talked about doing this in July, man, when we was in Vegas, bro. And
yeah.
I know I typically start off the show with how people got their start in, but I wanted to kind of pivot a little bit and talk about pretty much what is it that you would like people to know about the bodybuilding community that we pretty much deal with on the mental health side, things that they wouldn't even think of. Like, what is some things you can kind of pinpoint for either yourself or that you see in others?
Man, so I prep a good amount of athletes, and the biggest thing I let them know is I give them a whole rundown. I tell them the pros about competing in bodybuilding, the cons, the expectations, and even with if you're a good enough athlete and you get your pro card, right? Don't just think once you're a pro, oh man, I'm gonna make bank in this. I'm like, nah, I'm not. I tell them the whole truth from the get go, right? So I tell them what to expect, what this and that. So I tell them you have a significant other, right? I suggest you make sure you guys are on the same page because that relationship may falter. And that happens to the best of us because you're not the same person in the beginning of prep compared to when you're 1 week out or 2 weeks out, right? Everything changes. Your mood changes. You're cranky. You're this, you're that. So I try to educate all those young athletes or even older athletes competing for the first time who got wife and kids and married. You're right. I
Mhm.
tell them the whole pros and cons. Then after that, if they agree with it, okay, we can sign this, whatever, and we can get the ball rolling, right? But if they can't deal with that from the get go, right? I say this ain't the sport for you, and I'm not gonna waste my time. Like I'll pass up money, right? Just
Yeah.
because I'm just don't want to take anybody on. Then I gotta say, for example, a headache for freaking, if I do a whole off season with them, right? Off
Hmm.
seasons could be anywhere 4 or 6 months, a year, whatever. If I got to develop that athlete, then we got to go to 16 weeks, 18, 17 weeks of prep, right? So you're gonna be with
Hmm.
that athlete for a long time, and so I'd rather cut that in the butt now, so that way I don't have to deal with freaking 8, 9 months of headaches. So I give them
I
that
hear you.
full disclaimer, bro, saying relationships with your kids may falter, with your significant other may falter, right? Everybody like knows me. Like I don't. It's not for me. It's not like a whatever thing. I let my faith be known. In almost every
Facts.
post, look at my story.
Hmm.
I'm a man of faith, man of God. So, I always the thing that helps me so much in prep, right? I stay diligently in my word. I'm praying all the
Yes.
time, listening to praise and worship because that truly helps me in my mental, right, and in my soul, right. I've done preps where I wasn't aligned with the Lord, bro, and it was a disaster. I am not even gonna lie, it was a disaster. And on top of me going through disaster during prep, and then when I was done, I had a disaster of a season. I was like, this ain't
Hmm.
adding up. And so once I got back, spiritually grounded, the things start working a whole lot better for me, in competing and my mood and this and that. And I've met other, people that know me from when the beginning I started competing to now. I was like, DW, you're different these past years of competing. You're more, solid. You're more grounded. You're more this. You're more that. I was like, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I've gotten really, really close to, the Lord. That helps me out. I let them know
That's
the whole
real
truth, bro.
though.
I ain't gonna,
Yeah.
sugarcoat it.
Yeah. Like I kind of, so again, I can speak for myself, getting into the sport later, you know what I'm saying? Like there was the point of like losing myself in a sense, and I'm strong in my faith as well. But and I was talking to Daniel Amons about this, how you start to chase the trophy and chase the accolades and chase the pro card. And in that chase, that's when you lose yourself. And in the process of losing yourself, all the stuff behind you, like the relationships you're involved in, start to kind of crumble a little bit
Yep.
if you don't fix it. And that was what
Yeah.
was happening to me. You see what I'm saying? So that's a good point. And it's a valid reason for people to kind of stay, faith-based, whatever religion they follow, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But at the same time, like your foundation is your faith, bro, and you got to rely on that. So
yeah,
like you said, like the minute you kind of wasn't relying on that and you wasn't, strong in your word, that's when, things started to happen. You see what I'm saying?
yep,
So make sure y'all hear that, man, because the
yeah,
sport is it's unforgiving, bro. Like
yeah,
and
yeah,
literally in the last podcast we was talking about like the sacrifice that you have to make. There
yeah.
is no negotiation with that. So how do you deal with that aspect of, what, I got these shows lined up, no matter what, I'm going to have to sacrifice this time for my loved ones, for everything to try to achieve this goal? Like, how do you deal with that?
Well, in the beginning of like whenever I first started traveling more to do my shows, and I stopped doing more local shows. So this is the part that like me and my wife actually sacrifice, right? So we've come to terms that I actually do better when I travel and she's not there, right? So that's something.
Really?
I mean, we both sacrifice together. So whenever we're together, we don't do that well, or I don't do that well with shows because, right? Say for example, if I'm going to, I don't know, somewhere in the South to compete, right? Of course, if you're taking your significant other, you want to take them out to eat, you want to do whatever, you want to show them the sights, right?
Right.
But then, when we're in prep, we got to check in with our coach. We got to do all our duties. We got to check in, athlete check in. We got to time, do our tanning. We got
Mm-hmm.
a whole schedule we have to like abide by. Be in bed at a certain time, right? Wake up to our money for the show. So whenever we would travel together, right? It was always I was trying to like please her for what she wanted. Then I would sacrifice things that like I need to get done, but I wouldn't get done timely matter. And so that's where that issue came up. And then along those
Mm-hmm.
lines, an argument starts to spark up, right? And then all of a sudden, then you go to bed, you're arguing a little bit, you wake up, you didn't get that much sleep, you wake up, your cortisol levels are shot, you look worse than you did the day before. And so I was doing worse in my shows actually whenever she would travel with me, right? And so we both
Wow.
established that fact. We know I don't do the greatest. So whenever I started traveling more and she didn't go with me, she was just like, you know what? Hey, you do better in shows when you travel by yourself. So she makes that sacrifice as well. Like, you go by yourself. It's a business trip. I'll stay at home, watch the kids. Don't worry about me. Just go ahead, bring home, a little extra money. Go home and bring whatever, and then we'll reconvene
Wow.
after the shows. So that's actually a sacrifice we made together, and that actually works better for us, right? It's just we're like the
Hey,
opposite. They say opposite attract, So
that's
that
dope
is like
though,
we just like
for
agree on
real.
that. All right, I'm not going with you. You do better. But when I go with you, you ain't gonna do that good.
Hey, that's dope.
Right?
She has that understanding though. Like again, communication. If you don't communicate
Yeah,
that, then that's where it kind of falls off. So that's dope though, for real.
yeah. And then like I'll be honest. I got 3 kids. This year I made a lot of sacrifices in the sense like whenever my third son was being born, I was a
Mm-hmm.
month out from Wasatch. We're in a hospital 4 days. I have a luggage full of food. They didn't let me use the fridge there. So I was like, can y'all bring me bags of ice at least? So I was putting bags of ice in my suitcase to keep my food cool. Then whenever I would use the
Right.
microwave, I would go down to the whatever the at the hospital, heat up every meal. So I was getting extra steps in while I was there in the hospital. I would dip out sometimes, go do my cardio. So I never missed a beat when I was in the hospital, right?
Right.
But my son was like late, being born, right? And so the time where I was waiting, we thought he was going to come, right? I was in the room just waiting, and then he didn't. So they were like, "Well, we got just 6 more hours. Don't worry about it." So I left. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go knock out my cardio and weight training. As soon as I leave
Uh,
and knock out my cardio and weight training, my wife texts me. I'm finishing up a cardio. Oh, they're about to induce. All right, I get off the
oh
treadmill. I get off the
wow.
stairmaster. I'm running. I actually missed him being born.
Bruh.
I'm in, I'm in prep. That was kind of a huge sacrifice to me,
Man,
right?
that's
So
wild, bro.
mind you, he's 7 months, right? And then he just
Right.
turned 7 months a couple of days ago. I was in prep for over 9 months. So literally the whole time he was born, before he was born, I was in prep. So I didn't really get to like bond that much with them because you know whenever you get deep in prep, you're in peak week, right? We start getting really sensitive to stuff like noises and this
Yeah.
and that. So when the
Uh-huh.
kids are crying, I'm just like, no, my daddy's
Yeah.
head. See, it ain't
That's
set up. I'm in the
crazy.
gym for
It's
12, 13 hours, loud music, right? I don't want to hear the holding. I want to hear a crying baby, right? It's just,
man, it's crazy you say that though, because my first year when I was going into my first national, so my wife was pregnant my whole first year competing up until of course September 10th when my daughter was born, but I was preparing for the Miami Nationals when it was in
yeah,
Miami 2019. So like we kind of shared a similar experience. I actually wasn't gonna go, but at the time that she had our daughter, I was still two months out and I was still in relatively like great shape. So I was like, all
yeah,
right, we just gonna push it. But again, like that push, I probably shouldn't have went. Like, not probably, I shouldn't have went
yeah,
realistically. Like I should have stayed home. But it was just one of those things where it's just like, all right, well, I'm gonna try to do it all. Like I'm gonna try to be home and try to do this and try to do that. No, I don't like it's my first year. Like I'm not oblivious to peak week and oblivious to all this stuff. So it was
yeah,
like, but now like I look back like, yo, you was stupid as hell for doing that. Like for me anyway, like I shouldn't have done none of that. But like you're a veteran in the game, man. So it's a lot of I'm pretty sure tricks you use to kind of get you through these moments. But that's crazy.
yeah,
You was
yeah.
on the
Yeah, like literally, and I'm rushing over there. It's traffic. I'm doing the honk. I'm like, where's the cop? Because you think on the movies, like the cops pull
right,
you over. What's wrong? Why you speeding? My wife is giving birth, and they give you escort. No, none of that. It was like I'm fighting. And I
man.
get there, I just like, and I bust in the room. I was like, I'm like, what's going on, right? I'm thinking she's still in. And, oh, here's your son. I was like, oh man, I felt like so
Uh,
terrible, bro. Like you have no idea how bad I felt. Like I was I'm like, I didn't
man.
get to cut the umbilical cord, and I didn't like tell nobody that except you right now. But now the whole world's gonna know. But like,
Man, hey, I'm pretty sure people care like clearly like I can relate in some fashion. You see what I'm saying? So again,
yeah,
and that's what it's about, bro. Like people feel like we just have this grade A life, nothing happens, we look a certain way. And like, no, like we go through like real stuff, like
yeah,
real
and then
mental
like we
things.
within a lot of relationships, like in a sense, like all around us kind of fall apart, right? Which nobody's tell you that they'll put like cliche stuff like that online, like bodybuilders a lonely sport, whatever. But like, no, you really lose people because nobody understands what we're going through. They just know we look amazing, but inside our head, we're not there yet. I gotta suffer more. Then in that process, right? We start relationships with family members start faulting, friends, me and you both trainer
Mm-hmm.
coaches. Our athletes start like, what's wrong with so and so? Then we start becoming more desensitized, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
then just like they'll be like, oh, I got this coming up. I don't care, I'm suffering. So then we don't then they start getting mad, they start backing away from us, our kids start backing, so we lose a lot of like relationships around us during that process. So we sacrifice that and we try to salvage it, but we don't really know until we're actually done how much we got to make up. But we don't do it on purpose though. People think we're just being a-holes on purpose. Like, no, we're not. Like we
Nah,
really
like we're
suffer and
hungry,
sacrifice for this.
tired, like whatever you want to call it. Like we're going through whatever everyone else go through, but it's to a certain degree of sensitivity that comes with it too,
Yeah.
because we're pushing our body to the extreme.
Mm-hmm.
So with that becomes our mental being pushed to the extreme as
Yeah.
well. So like my goal is to help people understand that with these conversations.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
man, hopefully for you, man, no more of those moments get missed unless you're having more kids. I don't know.
No,
But
I'm gonna plan a little better next time.
oh man, that's crazy. So to transition a little bit, man, I know you mentioned, you've been with Coach Cuts, Mr. Ariel. How long you been with him?
It's 2019.
Since 2019, man. So he's pretty much witnessed your evolution in the sport pretty much, because like I said,
Yeah.
man, you dominated
Thank you.
Masters, man, this year, and I'm praying to have a year like you had one day soon. But with your coach, I know he's a man of faith too, man. Talk to me a little bit how instrumental he's been to you as far as not necessarily the bodybuilding aspect, but the mental aspect.
Oh, very huge. So I'm very transparent with him. I always tell him he's my coach, but he's like my true like mentor. I learned so much from him because like yeah, you'll see him. He has so many athletes. He's so blessed. Right now I think he's taking eight of my teammates to the Olympia. And I remember when he just started just with one and Woods for like 3 years in a row. While everybody
Right,
else been doing, everybody was bringing football teams, and he just had just one guy stay consistent, right? And then as long as I've been knowing Ariel, he's always been a man of faith, staying diligent, in his walk while coaching us. And I love the fact that like through that influence helped me build a better relationship, with Christ as well. And then he cares so much about our mental status, right? Our spiritual status, and also our health first and foremost in this sport, right? If
mm-hmm.
any of those are affected, he's gonna tell me. He's gonna be like, "Hey, man, you may not want to hear this, but I think you should take a step back. This is not looking right. That's this and that." He will tell you straight out. And then us athletes, we don't want to hear that because we get so like single track, like I want to do this, I want to do that. So I
Right,
could tell you so many times, like he didn't tell me you're not doing that show, you're not ready, you're not this, or your health is this, or that's that, and then we get mad. But you know what? I respect that he cares about that. He's not just a
facts.
guy chasing the victories, right? But because he cares so much about the other aspect of it, he's been blessed, right, with us, taking us to the next level because he cares about that
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost. Then in return, what happens? We end up getting better athletes. We, be better mentally, better spiritually, better health wise. Then we're able to become better athletes just due to that. And then now he's blessed with us having more wins, going to the Olympia, so on and so forth,
Yep.
because that is what he cares about most, not just the wins, right? So, you see a lot of coaches, they, opposite, they care about the wins and not your health and X, Y, Z. Then also they can have one guy for like however long, and that guy's done. Right? You won't hear nothing from him for freaking 2, 3 years. Where so and so, oh, that happened, that happened, that happened,
Yeah.
because it was more about his health. Really, it was more about the victories and not about his health, not about his mental status and everything else. Right? So that is the biggest influence I learned from him. So whenever I coach and train my athletes, that's what I make sure is 100% first and foremost. Besides me putting them on that stage, right? So I want their family, statuses to be thriving, spiritual status, their health be first and first. And so that's one of the biggest influences I learned from him, and I do the same thing, right? And I can care less about, taking their money or the victory because of any of that is messed up. They're not going to be nothing on the stage
None of
anyways.
that matters. None of that
Honestly,
matters.
that
Once
matters.
that health is
Because
in
after bodybuilding
question,
is done,
man.
that prep is done, they got to go back to a real life, right? And the health don't,
Exactly.
that ain't gonna go away. If you have some issues while you're in prep, it's gonna be worse when you're out of prep, right? So
Exactly. Which is
that's a big
exactly what I
influence
was telling
he
my
has in me.
client the other day. I was literally telling because he wanted to shoot for Masters USA after we got out of Pittsburgh. And I'm telling him, like, bro, you've been at this since literally November of last year, bro. We're shutting it down. Like,
Yeah,
and he didn't want to hear it. And then you got like the whole age distinction between us. But I'm like, look, you'll thank me later because I care.
yeah,
Like, seriously, yeah, you may be in contention. Okay, you're not gonna fall out of contention. Like, that's that we're not gonna allow that to happen. The judges may, like, because the
yeah,
judging is subjective and it's selective, but we're gonna do what we can to work on what we need to. But you're not gonna get better being in prep. In fact, you may start regressing. Honestly, you've been in
yeah,
prep that long.
yeah,
So yeah, and eventually he got it, but again, like it's
yeah,
coming from that place of care, which I hear that about Ariel all the time, man. So
yeah.
shout out to him, shout out to you for being coachable because I know you be
Yeah.
trying
Oh,
to
he
try to
shut me down
run that
last season.
thing.
I was so mad,
Word.
right? And he was like, "Your health is free," because I ended up getting rhabdo, and I was gonna push through rhabdo. I'm gonna do these. I wanted to do
Ooh,
like the San Antonio. I wanted to do Legion last year, but when I got rhabdo, it took me like 6, 7, 8 weeks to recover. I was still gonna push through it, right? Just being, I'm an athlete, I'm a military vet. I don't care. I'm mentally strong. I have the COVID mentality. He was like, no. He was like, it's not gonna. He was like, trust me, you'll come back better next year. What happened this year?
He didn't lie to you, like.
I was like, are you like psychic? Like,
he didn't lie to you at all. He told the truth. I know you didn't want to hear it in that moment too, because that would have been hard for me to hear it too. Like, I kind of went through something similar last year. That's why I only ended up doing one show. So like, I totally get it, man. But yeah, you mentioned you being a military vet, man, and I remember us talking about that. What are some of the things that have came from you being in the military that has maybe not necessarily hindered, but things that you may deal with, in bodybuilding from, being in the military?
Well, so this is where prep gets harder for me, and a lot of people don't understand it. So a lot of trainers and just gym goers that see me around 6 Cents, and then they think I'm just very like unapproachable, or that dude's always bad. Just like, so first they don't understand I am 100% disabled veteran, right? I'm actually 160% disabled veteran, right? I have back injury, 2 leg injuries, right? So from the waist down, I'm 60% disabled, right? But I still train, do my cardio every day, train legs hard, whatever. But I make sure I go to my chiropractor, I get my my physical therapy done, my body work, to make sure I can continue to train at a high level, and whatever injuries that I have in the past that flare up, I can knock them out the bat, like, real fast, right? But far as PTSD, anxiety disorder, depression, all that, like they have listed on me. So mental, I'm 100% disabled, right? So just for trauma I experienced while in the service, things I've seen while I was in there, like deployments, so on and so forth. And then even like after that, I was a firefighter EMT for many years too. I seen so much like death and bodily injury and harm, things with kids. So in the head, like I deal with that. So, on my record, that's what I'm, the biggest thing I'm disabled with, right? And so for me, that is an everyday battle, right? So whenever I do go through like the final weeks in prep and peak week, people think I'm unapproachable. It's like, no, you don't understand what's going on for me mentally. So I don't want to talk to nobody because I don't know what's going to come out, right? So I'd rather stay very introverted because I don't want to bring anything I'm going through at that moment out on anybody else. They become the victim or take the wrath. So whenever I'm training. I'm in there working out so much stuff, right? Mental trauma, trying to win this show, everything else. So I'm having a straight battle with the weights for 60 minutes, for an hour, for 90 minutes. And when I do my cardio too, it helps me. That's why I have no problem doing cardio. You see me on IG, everything, need to do cardio every day, because for me, that's like, that's refreshing. That's like one of my, like, just, okay, stress relievers. So when I do my cardio and do my weights, I'm just like having so much lifted off me mentally, right? And then on two, I'm the breadwinner in the family, right? So meaning my wife's a stay-at-home mom. I cover the mortgage. I cover every single penny in this household. So as a man, that's a lot, right? And then, inflation is the mode right now. So on top of that, finances and prep, this and that, and prep is not cheap, right? So, just the weight of that sometimes gets to us while there's prep, traveling all these shows and whatever it may be. So it becomes a lot. So I'm battling my past trauma, current stuff in prep, and then dealing with all that while I'm trying to take a family. But so whenever people say like, "Dealers unapproachable," no, you don't know what I'm going through. But here's the thing, right? So I had to go through years of counseling with my my veteran counselor, right, to help me battle against all that. And then the reason why I'm not on medication, because they wanted to put me on a lot of stuff, but I've seen other veterans, they have other adverse effects. Yes. So the biggest thing that helps me is me training every day, right? That helps me ground it. And like I said, being a strong man of faith. So here's another crazy thing that people don't know about me. When I'm lifting, I'm listening to gospel music. I'm listening to praise and worship music, right? To
Mm-hmm.
really satisfy, comfort my soul, right?
Yes.
So I'm doing that, right? Healing my soul at the same time I'm putting the work on my body, right? So I'm having a lot of those battles at once.
It's a two
So
for
then when
one.
I'm done, it's like a weight of the world has been lifted off me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and then my counselor was like, when I was dealing with that, then I end up finally, he was like, D-Dub, I can't, do no more. He was like, what you've been doing has been working for you. So that's why I say anybody, even if you're not a military vet, anybody that's dealing with anything in your life, they say find something that helps you relieve. That's why exercise is one of the best things for like relieving stress, depression, mental health, whatever, right? And so he was like, you're doing that part, you're staying, grounded in your faith. He was like, I can't do nothing more as a man on earth to help you. You're doing what you do to need to help yourself. So I highly recommend anybody that's not just trying to do bodybuilding, right? Anybody dealing with any type of, mental, get in the gym, right? You don't have to be a
Yes.
bodybuilder. You don't have to do cross. You don't have to do any of that. Just something to relieve stress, get your mind, and everything off the weight of the world. Relieve your stress and anger from there. That's what I kind of teach a lot of my clients who deal with other stuff. This is your outlet. Don't go to drugs. Don't go to alcohol. Don't go to whatever. Come here, right? So I
Man.
get the ways a lot of stuff I've been through in my life helps me help others, right? Which I love doing. That's why one of the reasons why I'm glad I'm doing this podcast. So that way, any of my experiences that I've gone through, right, can help people, right, in any way, shape, or form or avenue, try to get them whatever they're going through in prep, outside of prep, whatever, because I deal with that mental battle every single day. I just had two people that I know, military vets, take their lives, right? And then
Uh,
that hurts me as a veteran because I wish I could have helped them more, right?
yeah.
And then like I said, like they say, a veteran, takes their life every 26 minutes, right? And it's a sad truth, bro. And then and I wish I can give them the help or point them in the right direction before they go that route, But I refuse to be one of those guys, right? Because I have a family, and then the gym and me being strong in my faith, it definitely helps me get through all of that past trauma. You know?
Man, well, prayers to, those families. And man, I hope and pray, those who are around you watch this and they understand, well, one, you being committed to your craft, you're gonna push through, right? But there's consequences that come with that based off the trauma you've been through. So you got to find a way to push through that too. That's
Yeah.
why, so I hope they watch this so they understand, like, no, it's not necessarily that he's not approachable. Like, you might not want to hear or see what comes out. He's literally
Mm-hmm.
working on himself now. He's doing his own therapy in his head, on his body, like trying to connect spiritually with God, all in that one moment of
Yeah.
doing whatever exercise that you're doing. So I hope everyone at Six, and I love Six Sense, don't get me, that gym
Yeah.
is one of the
And then,
dopest
and
gyms
then
out
like
there.
like my
But
PTSD triggers, they flare up a lot during the last 2 weeks. So whenever I was doing these shows every 2 weeks, right, that last little run,
yeah,
I was
man,
having
look,
constant flare ups. My wife will tell you, I come home and
wow.
after being in the gym for 12, 13 hours and in traffic hour and a half trying to get back home to Paris, and then come home and I got like screaming kids and this, I'm just like, I literally just like, I can't, I literally, my head's about to explode. Right. And then so what I'll do is,
Wow.
I'll go meal prep or something I'll do. And then I literally just got to put on my headphones and just put on the audio Bible. I have to, or come home first, hop in the shower, de-stress, put the audio Bible on, and just let
Mhm.
whatever stress and anxiety, let my triggers come down before I can actually interact with my family. Because I couldn't for those 8 weeks. I couldn't interact with my family.
Right.
And I couldn't. So if I couldn't interact with my family, how am I interact with regular gym goers? They ask me, "Hey, bro, how do I get buff like
Exactly.
you?" But I record 24/7 at the gym. But I eat freaking In and Out every day. Like, how do I get buff like you? Like, you
Literally,
know what I'm
like
sacrificing, man?
That's
You want the
crazy,
easy route.
man.
There ain't no easy route.
It really ain't, man. And shout out to the missus, man, who has to consistently understand the dynamic and
Mm-hmm.
consistently assist you in that dynamic as well, man. I don't care what no one say. Like, man, if you got a significant other in this, you better lean on them tough.
Yeah.
And I've learned that the hard way, but hey, I my wife hears everything now, bro.
Yeah.
You're literally the sounding board. So shout out to your
Oh
missus
yeah.
for
Shout
that.
out, yeah,
And
to the missus for sure.
man,
She's definitely I wouldn't be where I'm at without her, put it that way. She deals with a lot, but then she has my back a lot, right? Or she's literally
yes,
without her, I wouldn't be where I'm at, because and then any other woman, I would be single.
look, hey,
But
call it what it is, man.
it takes a strong woman to be with a bodybuilder. It takes a
Yes.
strong woman, a strong significant other to be with a bodybuilder. It does, because we require a lot, bro, a lot. Especially when we're in prep the final weeks.
For real.
We don't
I
do it on
know
purpose.
from now on, though, like every time you in prep, bro, I'm sending you prayers. I ain't even gonna
Thank you,
hold
man.
you.
Thank you.
Just cause I know like we talked about it in July, but I was trying to save the dialogue for this because I wanted to learn. And the fact
Yeah.
that you just told me that, it's like, yo, like I didn't even know you was going through all that. I just had like a snippet of it, and you was damn near in getting ready for something in July anyway. At that point, I think you
Yeah,
was getting ready for the Masters
I was
Olympia.
30 days out for Masters Open.
Yeah, so
And I was in
even at
July
that
because
time,
I was in July because I was coaching a couple athletes at USA's. And then
right?
prior to that, a week before, I was in Pittsburgh. I was traveling. I had a couple guys at Masters Masters National. So the same time I'm doing all that, I'm still traveling with my athletes, coaching them. Like, I'm truly, truly busy, even when I'm in prep. Like, to the point where, like, Ariel told me, you got to stop traveling. You got to focus on yourself this last 30 days because your body is not responding how it should, because you're so focused on everybody else or them are traveling.
Yeah.
You're
Mhm.
gonna go ahead and bomb the Masters. You need to take a month and just don't do nothing. And so I listed it. I told my guys, I ain't going to your shows no more. You got to stay. I definitely ain't going. Like, and
Man,
then obviously
hey,
it worked out. So that man helps me out a lot, because
for
and then
real,
obviously
bro.
Vice worked out again because I finished third, right? At
Man,
the Doctor Masters. Oh, so
if
what we're
if they
talking
move
about.
that thing back out this way though, that's gonna be a different. I don't know
Yeah.
if they are. I don't know what they doing, but hopefully they do move it back out. It could be anywhere in the states as long as that flight ain't
Oh yeah.
19 hours,
Yeah.
like for real. But man, you accomplished a lot this year, bro. Like
Thank you.
it's amazing to kind of see this. Like what's next for you bucket list wise? Like what all do you want to accomplish?
Oh, bro. I'm not being arrogant by any means, right? But I want that number one title. I want to
Okay.
be the top master in the world. That's what I want to do,
Okay.
honestly. Right? Just because whatever I do, I'm a perfectionist. Right? I
Yes.
don't, regardless of what financial status may come of that, whether it's not a lot or little, whatever, right? No matter what I do, I strive to be number one at it, right?
Yes.
I'm not like, nobody wants to go on stage, but like, we hate like whenever we don't do a good performance and be like, I brought my best and I did that. But we hate those
Mhm.
speeches, right? You want to go after you're done on to a show, but like, I am number one. I'm this, right? Because we don't invest so much in this sport to lose, bro. It's a lot we're
Facts.
investing and giving up to lose, right? So
Mhm.
now that I know I'm getting better and better and better as I'm getting older, right? And I've got so close this season. Heck, right? Okay, all right. I'm third. Do I want to say I want to come back and be second? No, I want to come back and be number one, right? So whenever
Facts.
they bring this
Mhm.
sucker back, the goal is to be number one. Now, what's the name is hot right now too. Second in the world, Sharif Reed. That boy, he on fire too. He just won 35 and 45 at Daytona.
He
He
went
got
to
first to
Daytona and
40.
wiped it clean,
He's
and
on
then went
fire.
to
So
Legions and wiped it clean too.
yeah, so I'm all right. So he's the guy to beat, right? So now, I'm right behind him. So for me, he's my guy. He's like, I love Sharif Reed, amazing physique, really cool dude. Like we had our talks, we bonded. I'm gonna support him no matter what he does, right? We got that love and respect for each other, right? But when we're on that stage, I want to take your head off, right? I want to be
Hey,
the number one master. It just is what it is, right? If you don't have that in this sport, why you in this sport, right? I mean, we all be
facts,
cool, all
yeah.
be buddies. That's luck, because nobody, only we understand the sacrifices that we go through and really can like relate to each other, right? That's why I
Mm,
wish sometimes like, you know, not be bad blood in the sport or rivalries, right? That's going to come with territory, is what it is, right? But a lot of us should have a little bit more love, respect for each other, because dude, we all understand and know we got to go through the sacrifice to get to this point. I know we all want to be number
exactly.
one, but outside
Mm,
the stage, it should be all love. I mean, that's just how I feel, right?
right.
But every
Nah, I'm the
person's
same way,
different, and
bro. We only gonna
I get it.
battle that one time, like, and then after
Yeah,
that, we should be straight. So,
yeah, But I
mm,
understand. Hey, rivalries in the sport, it builds. It's like entertainment. It's gonna build up. I get that part of the business, right? This recent Aaron Banks thing, with the for the Legion and battling that built up a lot of hype for the Legion. I'm not gonna lie. And now it's more hype for the O, which is dope, right? So I
right.
get that aspect of it. But going back to be like, hey, I got mad love and respect for Sharif, but I want to come back and jump him, be number one. So
Yes,
that's next for me,
sir.
right? In all honesty. And so I went over with coach, looked at my weaknesses, what we got to improve on, just like we do every season, how we're going to be better. We drew the plan of attack. We know what we got to do, right? And so I know what I got to work on. So when I come back, after taking 6-7 months off, the family time, holidays, all the stuff,
Yes.
and if it's the Lord's will, have another kid, me and the wife are, we're having our talks right now. She's not ready. I do, but I get it. Right. We just have it set up the whole, but if it's the Lord's will,
Don't
we have
miss
another
no
one.
more
Cool.
births,
Yep.
man. We need you present, brother.
Yeah. So,
Mm,
but when I come
hey,
back, just like the small improvements I made with 4 months off, now imagine how much improvements I'm gonna make with 6-7 months off. Right? I'm
what?
coming back with a vengeance next year, right? I didn't take that last
Crazy,
loss
bro.
kind of lightly. I was mad,
I
right? I wanted to win that last show, right? I know things I messed up on. I know it was different judges I've never seen. I know they were new. I know everything is subjective. I know when I was competing in Texas, ironically, the guys that plays higher than me in Texas were all from Texas. Thought that was a little weird too, right? I'm not saying that was whatever, but okay. Watch when I come back next year. It's really gonna be undeniable, right? So I'm glad I
man.
actually ended my season on a loss, because I'm a better athlete whenever I'm coming from behind. That's just me.
Hmm.
I'm more motivated when I got to come from behind, because I'm
You
that
got
hungry
something to
wolf.
shoot for now.
Yes, yes. And if I'd ended this last show with a win, I would have like, okay, all right, I'm one of the best dudes. I'm undefeated. Or whatever. I would have kind of had that
Mm,
mentality. We all kind of get like that, right? That's just human nature.
right.
But if I ended it not how I wanted to, it really gives me a driving force this off season, right? And when I come back next year, I'm coming back with a vengeance. I tell you, whoever I'm going to my first show, I'm sorry for y'all. I'm gonna hurt y'all feelings. I'm
Hey,
just keeping it 100.
talk
I don't
that
take
talk,
losing very
brother.
lightly.
Hey, that's where it's at though. But I wanted to ask you, bro, because there was a post you put out when you actually got the Olympia invite, bro. I thought it was so profound and touching how passionate
Yeah.
you are about the sport, bro. Like, tell the people like what that really meant to get that,
Oh man.
because that was a very emotional post, bro.
You know what? Like, I know we all have different avenues in the sport, right? But I've always, no matter what, like I've always bonded with more older guys, right? And
Hmm.
so that's why I really love competing in masters, because a lot of us guys my age, right, we all have like real responsibilities. Like, I'm not saying like the cats younger don't, but as older guys, we have real life stuff and we still do this. Like, I
Yes.
don't know how many 20-something-year-olds got mortgage. How many 20-year-olds got mortgage and car notes? How many 20-year-olds got mortgage, cars notes, and multiple kids? On top of that,
Right.
like all normal bills, like it's a lot, right? So
Yes.
we have those real responsibilities on top of spending every year, depending how many shows you do, you could that's 10 stacks on traveling and tanning and this and that and all that, right? On top of being a breadwinner in your family. And then, even though the master checks ain't that big, they could be, granted, I won 3,000 in Romania, but other master shows you get like a G, right? So you're not recouping a lot back, right? But for
Right.
me, it's a business aspect, meaning this, because a lot of the guys that I coach and train, right, are my age, right? So that's
Mm-hmm.
where I get my money, right? They see, oh, a dude around my age in his 40s killing it. So the guy that's more financially stable in his life is going to be willing to pay my prices for training and prep and coaching, right?
There
I
you
come
go.
with a 20-year-old dude. Hey, are you gonna pay? All right, how much for this? They ain't gonna pay me $800 a month, right? They gonna pay me $1,000 a month. The older guy though, oh, bet look like I can look like you. Okay, but man, they gonna pay you your prices, what your pay, what your value is, right? They're not gonna
Mm-hmm.
devalue you, right? You're not gonna like, hey, can make a deal. They're not gonna do that, right? So if I have 20 dudes like my age, right, do the math, right? That's a really that is more the lucrative avenue aspect of it, right?
Yes.
So that's where I look at the money aspect of it. But here's where like that moment got emotional for me because, like I said, everybody has a different avenue in the sport, right? For years, for 2017 on to like, most recently, I was trying to do open like a lot of guys, right? And then when you're going up, so back then, I think it was like you had to go up against all the big name, big Olympians every year, right? You weren't even getting close, unless you were just a straight genetic freak. You was traveling, second call outs, third call outs. You was not making it, right?
Right.
So I think this is a great opportunity when they brought back the Masters O for us guys who've been grinding in the sport for so long and didn't get the love and the attention that we wanted to or hope for in open division. So they brought this aspect of it, guys that are getting older in the sport, right? We're still great contenders, right? But now it opened up a whole nother avenue for us masters to compete in, us masters to still make it to the Olympia. And it proved that all my years of grinding, I just had to wait my time. So now this was
Right.
my time. That opened up. So granted, I didn't make it to the big O, made it to the Masters O, but that is in the long run going to be more financially better for me because I'm gonna get more clients my age that can pay my prices. So it was like all that years of grinding,
Mm-hmm.
sacrificing, and people that always doubted me said, you shouldn't do this, have a normal job, blah blah this and blah blah. So that was like when I got selected for that, it was all those emotions and looking at the future aspect of it to help better financially take care of my family, just me doing that I love, what I love every day. So all those emotions hit all at one time, right? So when I got that selection, it was just all the years
And
of grinding,
the
over
floodgates
the
open,
opportunity to take
man.
care of my. It was just all that at once, So it was
That,
very, very, very emotional. And then I knew once I got there, I wasn't going to let the I was going to let my best show, put it that way, And so,
yeah.
and I did that. So it was mission accomplished for that point, And
That
so,
was
yeah,
dope, man. Like I watched it. I got a little emotional too. And one of my athletes, he follows you pretty closely. He's 52.
yeah,
So he was like, man, D-Dub was like, he back is crazy. That's all he say all day.
yeah,
Like, and then I'm just like, bro, that could be you, man. Like you,
yeah,
but again, like you got to put in the work. You can't rush it. Like he wants to
yeah,
rush everything. But and
yeah,
I'm like, the one's put in his time, bro. Like everything is with time. You're not
yeah,
about to rush none of this stuff. So, man, you're motivating people from all different walks of life, and he doesn't know you're, a vet because he is
uh-huh,
too. You see what
yeah,
I'm saying? So you two can connect on a multitude of levels,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
So, man, shout out to you. Hopefully he watches this, which is he will, because he was
yeah,
waiting on you to get on here anyway. So I'm gonna hit
yeah.
you with three quick
It was
hitters
great, yeah,
before. Yeah, I'm gonna hit you with
yeah,
three quick hitters before we get out of here, man.
yeah.
Word of advice you got to those who, in between the ages of 35 and 40, maybe they're still competing in open, they're not making a mark. What's some advice you would give them? Would you tell them to go to Masters, or would you tell them, like, what would you tell them?
You know, I've actually talked to a lot of my buddies about this. I told them do both, right? No matter what, right? I was like, just try your end at both, right? Like, say for example, if you're like, say, if you're going out there trying to like, all right, just look at it back this way, right? If you're trying to get, you know, you're putting your application into college, right? You got your top two favorites, right? You're still going to put your application into both, and whatever picture you're going to be kind of happy, right? Hey, I got in,
There you
right?
go.
So I tell guys to just do both because, you know, that now Masters, in a sense, this is like the new thing because I said a lot of guys are starting to age out of open, right? You know, and I'm not going to lie, age does is a huge factor in the sport of bodybuilding, right? A lot of people tend to like not see that it's a real thing, right? Whenever a lot of us take performance enhancements, right? You know, a guy in his late 30s, 40s take performance enhancement versus a guy in his 20s. The guy in his 20s is going to respond a whole lot better because they're young, they already got high this, and they amplify that by 1,000, right? They're going to be better. It just is what it is, right? Now, a guy who's kind of on the tail end going down, right? Then he's gonna get to where the young guy is, right? But he's not. Some guys are genetic freaks, good responders. They can get better, but for a lot of us, we can't. So that help is only going to get us to a little bit above that tier the 20-year-old is. 20-year-old is gonna be higher. So I'm not saying don't chase your dreams, your goals, but you got to realize in this sport, youth is on some of these guys' side, right?
Yeah.
And youth and genetics. So I say try your hand at both. If you happen to do great and open too at an older age, good for you. I'm not saying, hey, don't do it, but good for you, right? But if you happen to do better in Masters, take that, right? Because right now Masters is picking up at the right time because now I've been hit with a lot of guys, who are Masters vet. They've been sending me a lot of DMs. Love what I've been doing with the Masters division. I inspired them to get back there out there and compete, and then this and that. So now a lot of the older guys are going to start coming back in Masters division. I think within the next year or two, it's going to be just as competitive as Masters. I mean, just as open, especially now that you got the Masters O, right? Oh, you giving out $10,000? What? You're giving out $5, right? That's big. That's more than the open pot, right? As far as the regular show, right?
Yeah.
And all right, I can still get at least 1,000 compared to. All right, I get top 5 and open. I ain't getting nothing but a trophy. Oh, I can at least get 1,000 here, right? You get something, right? And so I think it's the perfect time, right, for Masters to take off because now it's getting more competitive. And now, I think it's been the second or third year they got the Masters World Championships. So now that's going to be hard. So I have to try your hand at both. If you're in between 35 and 40, you never know when you're going to land. And then what I touched on earlier, if you're a coach or trainer, you're looking for that extra financial. The guy that's more financially stable is going to pay you what you want compared to the guy that's younger.
There you go.
You got to look at that avenue. So that's the advice I would say, right? Look at it from a business standpoint.
Right? Got you. So going into next year, what show you got circled on your calendar? Like, yeah, this is one that I have to win this one. Which show is that? Not the Masters
All
Olympia.
right, put it this way. So after this extended break, right? We know in this sport a lot of judges like a certain look, right? So I feel, and I went over, with my coach, I feel that Steve Weinberger likes my look, right? I was one of the first ones he called out in Masters. 116. I was the first one he called out, right? And that first call outs, right? So you have to know what judges, what they like, right? So what we did was for Masters, we came in bigger. We knew Steve was the head judge, right? Sandy was the judge for Woodstocks. We came in tighter, more conditioned, right? Whatever. So you got to know what type of the looks these judges like from competitors, right? So I want to go next year to all the shows, the bigger shows Steve is going to be judging. So I'm looking at first show on the agenda, maybe Chicago Pro, right? I know he judges that one. So I'm going to do Open and Masters, right? Next on the list, probably Tampa Pro, right? So now with those Masters titles, obviously they're more prestigious shows, more prestigious titles, but I know Steve is going to be judging. So now I want to play the political aspect game of that because I know he likes me and go to his big shows, and whatever. So those are the first two I'm looking at on the radar. Again, they may can change after I bring that with my coach. He may say, "Hey, I like you to this show better," whatever. So whatever show I do, I always run it by Ariel first, and we say, "Hey, that's going to be a good show for you, not a good show for you, or you can make it, or you can't make it." I trust that man wholeheartedly. When it comes to like selecting shows that are best for me, whatever. But I think after this season, no matter who we go in front of, we're going to do fine because I literally seen everybody this year. I seen, Tim Gardner, Steve Weinberger, Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
I seen Tyler. I seen Steve DeVore. I seen Tim Gardner. Like a lot of the big judges, right? So and then obviously I've done pretty well at all the shows this year. So no matter what judge, I think they all like my look. So, but once I really find out and go over with Ariel, I think it's the better look. Okay, cool. Let's do XYZ show. So that's kind of how I'm going to be picking my shows next year. But I want more prestigious Masters titles, and yeah, and then from there, if they bring back Masters, oh baby, you know
Hey,
what I'm gonna bring there, and
yeah.
you know
To
what the what the spot
tell
I'm
them
gunning
bring
for.
it back to the U.S.,
Yeah,
please. And then last but not least, man, to kind of continue this dialogue, within, our community, our brother sisterhood, is there someone you would recommend to come on here who has a dope story to tell and can enhance the dialogue for mental health?
damn. Let me see. Um, one of my guys that's like came a long way, and I don't really know too much of his backstory. He posted a little bit about it a lot, right? But he's done really well, with his life and his business. You know him as well. My opposing coach, Brandon Laurent. I think he has a really
Mm-hmm.
dope, from where he came from, to where he is now in the sport, and really making his mark, and as not just a prep coach, but as a really dope, posing coach as well. Building his brand up as well. So me and him, we chatted up, but we talk up a lot. One of my guys. And so I think he would be good to come on, as well. I don't know about the mental health aspect of it, but I'm pretty sure he has some good insight, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just have my boy Daniel Ammon on there. Who else? Man, I don't know. That's a tough one because
We
some of the
collect. We
stuff you
can
don't.
start with Brandon. I gotta have a
Yeah,
conversation with Brandon anyway, because I'm like, you ain't about to be posing everybody and not me. So we
yeah,
might.
yeah,
So whatever I'm ready to get this thing going when I get back from this family vacation. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's
And
why
then
I'm
I,
staying
I
in
I I
striking
think
distance now.
one of my really really good friends. I've been knowing her for years. She was a former teammate of mine. I think she'd be really good. Also, she's with Pure Fit
Mm-hmm.
Wellness. I think Amanda will be really well. Me and her had some talks, and then I think she'll be good one to be on.
Look, I'm gonna edit this clip and I'm gonna put it as a reel and I'm gonna send it to her, and you gonna
Yeah,
talk to her. Amanda will. I'll message her. She'll hit me back for the.
uh,
Oh my god! I'm sorry, I forgot. I want to do it. Da, 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 da. And then I'm like,
yeah,
all right, let's schedule a time. And then she'll get dumb busy. And then she'll come
yeah,
back like, I'm not avoiding you. I promise. Da, da, da. So I'm saying this on purpose because I'm gonna cut it.
yeah,
I'm gonna send it to you like, hey, John told me to show you this.
yeah. I
So
think she really
yeah.
good, like mental health because she really give it to her girls too. She be in her head. I be watching the
I
gym
I
like,
know, bro, and I
damn,
know she
like she
has a
good.
dope story to tell too, bro.
Yeah,
I just got a funny feeling about it, and like I like, yo, she'll be dope, and she's local, and so I get it. Like people be mad busy, just like you was competing.
yeah,
Like I respect everybody's time. It's just like I don't want to keep bombarding you through your DMs because one, when I first sent her the message, she didn't even really open it. I had to stop her at
yeah.
USA. It's like, Amanda, really? And she was like, "Oh, that was you." And I'm like, "Yeah, like I know it'd be mad creeps in their DMs, bro. I
Yeah,
know it."
yeah.
But yeah, so I'm gonna cut this out and send it to her, bro. Yeah.
All right,
So,
bet. Cool. She really
all
dope what to have
right.
on there too.
Yeah, for real. My guy, the one in the building, man. Appreciate you, bro, man. Thank you
Thank you
so
for having
much.
me, brother. Definitely had a good time, and hope a lot of the insight I shared help out a lot of young athletes, older athletes, a lot of athletes that just dealing with whatever, man. Hopefully, I shed some light on it, and you can take whatever tidbit, and hopefully, it can help you out any way, shape, or form in your grind.
Absolutely, man. You definitely did that, man. We'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.
Peace.